Hi guys, now I often get asked by aspiring traders, what does it take to become a successful trader? Do you need some high education in finance, or do you need some fancy college degree? But the answer I always give is no, none of the above. Successful traders, they come from all different walks of life, all different types of backgrounds. But I do think it's fair to say that many successful traders do possess certain traits or characteristics. In fact, there are numerous books and papers written where the author will go out into the field and he'll interview successful traders with the intention of finding out, where they've come from in their trading journey, what got them to where they are, try to decipher what these characteristics are. Market Wizards is one book that springs to mind. So I thought what I'd do is basically the same. So in the coming months, from time to time, I'm going to share with you some of these interviews that I'm going to be doing with highly successful traders, mixed in, of course, with my regular content. Today, I'm going to kick it off with an interview with a really successful trader. Some of you may already know him. His name is Joel Kruger. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Now, before I do, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel if you don't already do so. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification. That way you'll be notified the moment the next video has been released. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. And of course, if you follow us on Facebook, you can tune in every Monday afternoon, 2 p.m. London time, for a live streaming event discussing trading opportunities for the week ahead. Come on, let's go and talk to Joel. Okay folks, thanks for tuning in. Now, I am delighted to introduce to you today a trader that I've been following for many years. He's been in the market for about 20 years. I'm sure you've heard of him before. His name is Joel Kruger. He's renowned in the business, has a great following indeed, and I'm actually honoured that he's agreed to be my first interviewee, as it were. So Joel, thanks indeed for tuning in today, or coming in and joining me on this first video series. How you going?
I'm doing good, Andrew. Good to be here.
I tell you, man, that backdrop you got there, that has got to be a green screen. That is looking really pretty cool.
It is. It is the latest and greatest technology. It's as close to real as can be.
Absolutely, and I can even hear the birds tweeting in the background as well.
Yeah, those are the effects. Things are coming along with the technology these days.
So I take it you. I know you live in New York a lot of the time, in Israel. I guess you're in Israel at the moment, yeah?
I am. I'm in Israel right now, and at this point, I spend most of my time here, and then we still have the benefit and luck of being able to go back and spend the summers in New York.
Well, I mean, that's almost one of the questions. What attracts you to trading, and how does it, the versatility of it, which is wonderful. So, Joel, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to run through, because obviously people really want to hear, your experiences in life and in trading and what have you, because we've all said, and I know, you're in the education role as well, it's often said, you want to emulate what other people are doing. So people want to know what you're sort of up to and maybe take something from it as well. So I'm going to ask you just a few questions about how you got into trading and so forth. You okay with that?
Of course.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, off the bat, Joel, I know you've been trading for about 20 years. If I may ask, what really got you into trading in the first place?
Well, that's a very simple one. We all have moments at various points in our lives for different things. The moment for me was elementary school. I was in elementary school, and somebody was walking down the hallway with a ticket in their hand, some sort of stub, and they were all excited. And I said, "What is that?" Because there was so much excitement around it, and they had just legalized sports betting in the province of Ontario, where I grew up in Toronto, and it was the first time that I was introduced to the idea that you could participate in the game in a way where you would feel like you were the coach on the sideline, and I was very attracted to that, and that was my first introduction to the world of speculation.
I think I must have been one of the first spread bettors in the UK when it all kicked off. It was back sort of early 90s, and I tell you, I used to bet on everything from the corners to the number of yellow cards, and I was betting on everything. I think I did very well, to be honest, but
I was instantly gravitated to the idea that I could kind of be challenged with all of this information that you would have in front of you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a coin flip type thing. I was really drawn to the idea that I would be able to kind of research this, something I enjoyed, to the point where maybe I would find some sort of inefficiency or opportunity that was not being accounted for in the bookmaker's spread.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even at that age, I had that kind of sense of wanting to kind of excel in that area.
I remember, I tell you, I used to be on the trading pits. I remember, obviously money's important, but I remember actually beating the market or beating the spread betting firm, and they said there's going to be 12 and you actually got it right because with your analysis. The actual feeling of beating the market meant more to me, I think, than the money when I initially got going. Just the fact that you had an edge over the market, I think, was something that I really enjoyed. Yeah,
it's a wonderful feeling. The funny thing about it, though, is the gratification comes in the prep work. But when it comes down to the wins and losses, I can remember the losses a lot more than I can remember the wins. As great as the setups were, the wins happen, and they kind of, that's it. And so it tells you a little bit about where your priorities should be in life, and the losses are the ones that I have the best memories of.
Well, that's good because you learn from those as well. It's a bit like trading, isn't it? I mean, a loss, we all have losses, as you know, but if you can learn from them and you can analyse, that's it's money well spent, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose definitely in the psychology there's similarities, and it is important that people understand that your mentality should be one in which you can really be able to kind of give a lot of attention to the losses and not be afraid of them. And if you're able to kind of not run away from them and understand that they're a part of it, and enjoy them, because there's a lot of joy that comes in learning about our weaknesses and our insecurities. If once we can learn that they're not such a big deal, we're able to really kind of accelerate our progress.
So you didn't really have a financial background before you sort of hit that excitement of spread betting. So it was just basically something you've grown into, because I've seen a few of your podcasts out there in the past, and you seem to obviously be very aware of what's going on in the financial world now. That's obviously self-development, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the only economics that I had growing up were the economics of figuring out that I didn't want to be like everybody else in the family. I did not want to be a doctor.
Yes, they're doctors. Yeah.
So that was it. I had no interest or in no way gravitated to financial markets per se. It was more this idea of being and having an opportunity to kind of figure out if there was a path towards this idea of making a career in speculation, which, I found later on.
So, I mean, obviously, I don't know about you, but certainly when I used to be in the pits, but when I came to the screens, I had a Roth struggle to start with. The first couple of years, really, I was basically losing money, quite frankly. How long were you sort of really serious about trading before you became consistently profitable, to say that, hang on, I have actually got something going here? How long was it, in your trading career before you felt that?
So I was lucky enough to always kind of know that I wouldn't be comfortable in terms of my own personality and the way I was, that I wouldn't have been able to succeed in a situation or scenario where I would need to jump into something and not be able to have any kind of alternative income to support myself. And so my transition into the world of trading came through an introduction to finance and investment banking. And then which took me towards a path towards working in strategy. And so I was lucky in that my initial exposure was not in a position where I had to be taking on excessive risk or feeling like I needed to pay bills, because you're not going to be able to succeed in something if you're constantly stressed out about it.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I needed to be in a position to learn first and to have that exposure first.
Yeah, and I think that's very right. And there's a lot of people listening in today, Joel, that are embarking on their trading journeys, maybe considering it, maybe halfway through it, maybe losing money. I think it's nice for them to know, and I talk about it all the time, the challenges that we face as traders. What do you think is the biggest challenge for someone embarking on trading for the first time?
I think the biggest challenge is in the psychology. I think that
I agree.
come from a world we come from a world where everybody kind of identifies with things in a certain way, and in the world of trading, it's much different. And so just something like taking a loss, which in society and culture is viewed as kind of a inherently not a good thing if you have a loss or you have a setback like that, and so you step into an area where it's not the same. That's a very much a part of it. The truth is, it's a part of life too, but it's really in your face with trading, and people don't respond well to that. They don't want to fail.
So how do you deal with that? Because I mean, we all read in the books, you should trade without emotion. I think that's damn impossible. I mean, even for people, and I've been trading for 30 years, it's impossible to trade. How do you deal with those emotions that I think we all have?
I think that you need to be able to understand that when you're doing something and you're committed to it, you have to forget about the short term.
Yeah.
And once you're able to reconcile that, it becomes a lot easier. Most people that kind of venture into this area, they do so haphazardly and without a real commitment. This is like any other profession that requires, a commitment.
Yeah.
And so if you think you're going to stroll into this because it looks and feels like, gambling, then you're going to be in trouble. So I always refer to it, Joel, as I think I've done a video on it, on the law of large numbers. It's not about that one individual trade. It's the bigger picture that we should be focusing on. And if you're getting focused and fixated on one trade, then the chances are you're back to those gambling traits that we all need to avoid as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, people have a hard time with this, and people talk about wealth and wanting to kind of make it, and people forget two fundamental, points when it comes to this, which are your wealth is a lot of it comes from saving,
mm-hmm.
And a lot of it comes from what happens over time, and not some big hit. That happens in a second. And if it were a big hit that happened in a second, which might happen to many out there, you run the risk of having that same massive hit to the other way. And then it's what exercise are you in? What is this? It's not trading the way that you want to be doing it. So, you might as well be doing something else.
I mean, we haven't rehearsed this, but it almost brings me on to my next question, which I've jotted down a few points here, is how do you cope with a string of losses? Because we all have them. People think that, you might have but sometimes you get a string of losses. I mean, I think I had 10 losers on a bounce back in January last year, following my normal strategy. It's testing. How do you deal with a string of losses?
Well, that's something that is the hardest thing when you're trading to be able to deal with, and it's not an easy thing to overcome. I think that some of the things that people should try to do are to not kind of have their emotional eggs all in one basket. So it can't be an all or nothing exercise. You need to have other things going on in your life where you can have them to sort of, be as priorities.
Yeah.
That this is not everything. And so I think that on a big picture, higher level, that's what
it's
you
very
need to be
important.
doing.
Very important. Yeah. Now, I've been watching you for a good while in your trading and in awe. But a lot of traders here that are watching, my channel here won't maybe not know you. So, what type of a trader would you say that you are? I mean, we have, and these are buzzwords that some people might not know, but scalping, which is like a short time, maybe a 5-15 minute. You got intraday, which is on the day chart. So you got a swing, which is more position. What type of a trader, Joel, would you say that you are and you favor?
Okay. Well, I don't know from those definitions, but what I will say is I'm the type of trader that should be somewhat of a refreshing type of an insight for people that are looking to trade, because I don't come from mathematics or business or hard finance. I come from a world where skills are better kind of in tune with people and kind of reading things and a sensitivity, more of a creative type. And so those are not my skills, the traditional skills that you need to be successful in trading. I have none of those. And yet I've been able to make a career of it because I'm able to kind of understand and appreciate other things. And so, what type of a trader am I? If I were to define it in a way that could be easily understood, I would say I look at kind of everything. I'm a techno-fundamental type of a trader, and I trade setups that I would say are more medium term. I'm not a high-frequency trader by any stretch of the imagination. And that just should speak to something that says that you don't have to be a certain way. You have to be a certain way that is good for you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And something that fits into your own personality, because this is why, you can't read about trading. We can read about it, but you can't learn to trade in a book because everyone's different. And I think that's something that people have to appreciate, which I'm really pleased you mentioned. What is your overall attitude, would you say, to risk? Because a lot of people that come into trading for the first time, they're scared about losing, or they believe that they are great risk takers. And you know what happens to great risk takers? Chances are sometimes they fall by the wayside. But what is your attitude, would you say, to risk, financial risk?
Don't be taking any risk that you can't afford to take. Yeah. That's my attitude towards it. It's not. I don't associate or correlate the word risk with something. Yeah. That should be, I'm going to either fall off a cliff or not fall off a cliff. Risk is not defined as what many people might associate that word to mean in my head when it comes to this. It's just something that is an opportunity to extract additional alpha or kind of capital, all right, and profit in ways where you have an edge.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at risk. And not as something that's a reckless endeavor.
Yeah, I agree, exactly. I mean, it should be calculated, shouldn't it? I mean, you nailed it there, basically. You should never risk, I know we read about it, you should never risk more than you could afford to lose, but you should weigh the risks with the potential rewards, not only financial, but also emotional as well. The last thing you want to be doing is losing your house, family and home because you're sitting up there just risking and taking excessive risk and to get there. It's all in a balance, isn't it? It's not just all about you're right there. That's why I always find it refreshing talking to you, Joel, because a lot of traders that are out there and a lot of traders that I talk to, is all just about the money here, the money there, and what have you. And with you, it's much more rounded in terms of the emotional side of things, which is very, very important, I think, for a lot of traders. A lot of it goes unnoticed, which is why, as I say, I always find it refreshing talking to you. Do you have any have you had any mentors in the past, or anyone that you follow, the big names up there? Any of the books? Do you follow any of that stuff?
I do.
Hey, who's this little chap?
This is Sonny. Sonny, say hi. You see hi?
Hey, Sonny. Gosh.
I do have mentors. I always say.
Sonny, is he your mentor?
He's definitely one of them.
He stresses you. Go for a walk. Get away from the screens.
Yeah, he teaches me to stay calm, and he loves me all the time, no matter what. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the family don't. I know that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
So mentors, Do you have any financial mentors or anyone that you sort of aspire to, or?
I have financial mentors, but I have mentors, and they might not be the conventional sense, but one of them is Howard Stern. Mentor, and the reason being, as crazy as that might sound to some people, if you do know him, or if you don't, look him up. He's a radio personality, and he does. And the reason why I love him is because he's very in touch with people. He gets to interview some amazing people. And you get to hear about their lives in ways that are not the way you would normally hear it on some talk show where they're just trying to hit points. And so when you get insights into people's lives and struggles, it's quite fascinating, and it's really good for your growth. I would say running is another mentor of mine.
Good, exercise, healthy mind and healthy body.
I mean, there's no better place I am with my thoughts than after a workout, and music, those are my three.
Yes, I've heard you play the old guitar. I've heard you play that on some live streams. It's
pretty bad, but I enjoy it.
No.
And those are the three things that I would say are the things that I look to for guidance.
I know, Joel. I know you've helped a lot of traders over the years. I know you trade yourself full time, but you also help a lot of other traders. What would you say would be the main characteristic of a trader that's going to make it, that's got a half a chance, and someone that's going to say, with being blunt, you're a lost cause, you ain't going to make it. What would you say were the main characteristics if you're starting off? I mean, because I think people want to hear that, to get your view on that.
Well, I think that you have to find out quickly if you really have a legitimate passion for this business. That's something that you need to find out. So I don't know about characteristic, but I think that you need to understand if this is something that you really want to be doing, or if this is just about money. Because there are people that can be successful in professions that they're just focused on money, and then they can separate, and that's possible. But I don't think it's something that you want to be stepping into without kind of also being committed to what it kind of gives you on so many levels. So you have to be somebody who's very interested in the exercise of trading without necessarily being focused on the instant hit of or expectation of money.
I don't know about you, but when I go out on the social circuit, friends and all that, I mean, a lot of them obviously know what I've been doing for the 30 years, but I don't know about you, but I'm a bit older, but we're getting to the age now, I'm getting to the age where a lot of my sort of chums from school are thinking about packing up their work, and they are asking me, can I teach them to trade and what have you. Some of them I'll say, don't even think about it. You ain't gonna work. You haven't got a chance. Would you recommend trading to any of your friends or family? I know all your family are doctors, but I mean, would you?
I would recommend trading to people that don't want to trade, and the reason being, I want to be clear about this because it kind of sounds like it's in conflict to what I just said, but I would recommend it not as a professional business exercise, but an exercise in being able to give you a good way and a good guide to kind of constantly be reminded of kind of how you need to keep yourself in check by understanding that you have to have discipline. And that, there's highs and there's lows emotionally to things, and understanding how to be in the moment. All these things are very important in life, and they come through very strongly when you're trading, because the market will draw out those things. So if you're somebody in life who's just looking for a constant reminder of needing to be a certain way that's going to be beneficial to your lifestyle, trading is a good thing. So as a profession, I don't recommend it for anybody, but as an exercise in trying to focus on making your life better, the reward that extends well beyond the monetary reward is there for people if they want to try it out.
Yeah, I think that's very good, Joel. I've always liked that aspect that you sort of take on this. I've seen it for years now, and I've really respected that because and I get a lot of people that they want to come in just because they don't like their boss, so they think they're going to be a trader. But you're right, you put a very good perspective on that. So I do think that's very valuable. And I think it's fair to say that, and you're testament to this, that you don't necessarily need a financial background. It's not all about having the finance degree and the high-powered college degree to get this. I mean, it's open to everyone if you're the right person, and sometimes people might not even know they're the right person, but obviously that's where people like yourself and myself are here to help people along the way, indeed, to bring that out of them if they've got something like that, which I think
if you're listening out there, trust me, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm an idiot. Okay, so I can do it, you can.
I wouldn't dream of saying such a thing. Look, I don't know. One of the questions I get asked, because obviously I help a lot of traders as well, is why do you spend time? And I get this asked, as I say, why do you spend time helping other traders? Why don't you just sit in front of your screens all day long, plugging away and making some money and being a trader on your own? Why do you get involved in the community with your trading?
So the truth is, I didn't up until recently, only up until about a year ago, and it was reluctantly in many ways. It wasn't something I'd ever thought about doing, but I have reached a point in my career where I'm lucky enough that I have time on my hands that my wife doesn't want to be spending every second with me, and so the truth is that I do like working with people, and something happened about a year and a half ago that came into my head that was something that I looked at and I said, based on understanding who I was kind of this light bulb went on, and it was just this idea that came into my head where I could do something for a specific type of person where it wasn't going to be something where it was going to be maybe, or you take a course or this or that, and it was something that was going to guarantee for the right type of person some real change. And listen, if you don't know this already, anytime you have an opportunity to have a relationship with somebody where you can give them things that you know because of how you've gone through a process and you understand and you're sensitive to, and they benefit from that in their own lives, it's the greatest feeling in the world. So it's selfish for me to be doing this in many ways, because I get to see these things happen and they're tremendous. And so what I do with people is nothing like anything conventional as far as going through the process of learning how to trade.
Well, I think that's great, and that's, again, it is inspirational. I mean, there is more to trading than just looking at the candlesticks, and that skill that you bring to the table is really good. So, what are you up to these days, Joel? Anyway, I mean, you're out there still helping. What are you up to?
I mean, I do many things. I wear many hats. I try to keep things as silly as possible, as much as I can. But I do some consulting work. I do my trading. I have my advisory, and I have this now one-on-one project that I'm doing with people where I'm helping them out if they kind of meet the profile.
Okay, and they can get in contact with you if they're interested in doing something like that. Reach out to you.
Yeah, they can just send me an email.
Yeah. Okay. What we'll do then, we'll put your email under this video. If anyone wants to reach out to Joel and chew the fat, and I say, I don't think it's for everyone, but obviously you've got to, and you will decide it's the right person. You'll only obviously work with the people that you know you can work with. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, and I will be the first one to probably, to a fault, I will turn you away. But
well, there's the challenge for someone. There's the challenge. So
yeah, there's a challenge. No, but if somebody does make sense and they check off all the marks, then I'm excited to work with somebody like that, and I can really help.
And I think it's also what you offer there sounds to be quite tailored for the people that have been trading for a while. They might be just having struggles with it. They've sort of got the understanding of how to trade, but they need to. There's some other aspect they need sort of focusing on. So as opposed to buying what's an RSI and what's a candlestick chart. That's right. You take it to a different level, which I think is lovely.
That's a good point. I'm not necessarily working with beginner traders. I'm working actually with traders that people that love it, and they've been kind of working at it for a while now, and yet they keep running into the same issue where there's this trigger that goes off in their head. As much as they're committed to, and as much as they understand what they just learned, it all kind of doesn't matter, and somehow everything falls apart, and it's just this continued cycle. And it's terrible because these are smart people, and they don't have to feel the way that they do, and yet it can be debilitating, and it's not really the way it has to be.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm telling you that if you're someone out there that feels like that, I'm telling you that definitively, and that's what I help with.
Well, I think that's wonderful, Joel. We are just about out of time. Joel, look, I really do appreciate it. I'm honoured that you've actually taken the time to talk to myself and my followers today. So thank you very much indeed. You've been an absolute inspiration, I'm sure, to many traders, both considering the trading career and also traders that are in the middle of their trading career as well. So you've been an absolute value. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for coming on today.
Well, I thank you. I've seen your work and these videos that you're doing, and they're better than like top tier TV. So for me, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. So
well, not quite a celebrity.
It goes both ways. Ways.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you again for that, Joel.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.
Okay, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that interview. Thank you very much, Joel. Now, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love to read all these comments, especially this week as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And if you hit that bell notification, you'll be notified the moment my next video has been released. You can follow us on Instagram and of course on Facebook. And if you follow us on Facebook, you can tune in live every Monday afternoon, 2 p.m. London time, for the streaming event, live discussing trading opportunities for the week ahead. And of course, if you want to contact Joel, his contact details are below. You can hit him up. Make sure you let him know that it's regarding the Joel Kruger project. Thanks. Until next video, happy trading and good luck.